Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division in the 3rd anniversary tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. You can get the text guides by subscribing to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link to Patreon is in the description down below and also on our website. And in this playthrough you will see my shots and also some of my opponent's shots that I think is going to be valuable for us to look at. The info box you do have on the right hand side displays the elevation that I'm going to play for the drive and also for the second shot. Then what type of balls that I do believe is going to be good to play with on that specific hole. You don't have to play with the same ball that I do, but there is always a thought behind the suggestion. Also, the clubs that I do suggest would be good to play with as well. Same thing as with the balls. You don't have to play with them, but in the end, you would have an advantage many of the times choosing the correct clubs. So in the end, enough talking about it here in the intro, and let's focus and go to hole number 1. Hole number 1. Here you're going to see two ways of playing. First, we're going to start by playing in headwind, and in headwind I want you to play with a power 3 wind 3 ball if it's possible, which is a kingmaker. And the reason for that is, like, 1, we do need a side spin 3 ball. 2, the power with like the power 3 really gives us a very nice position, which is going to be very easy to replicate and also going to give us generally a very good shot towards the pin. The thing that we need to think about in headwind as well is that from the second tee we are always going to play with a driver. We do not want to do as our opponent did there, having to overpower with our wood club. So here I play with the quarterback, and obviously if you play this course in regular tour play, you play with the driver that you do have in your bag. And now we're going to look for, in this case I'm going to look for approximately the red ring on the rough line with max side spin to the right and 2 bars of backspin. And the reason I'm looking at the red ring here, it's because we do have a wind coming southwest. If we would be coming southeast, I would most likely move my target a little bit more to the left, giving me the blue or the 4th ring by the rough instead. Now we do hit a great left, but you're going to see the trick here that the ball is gonna bounce and it's gonna roll up here on the hill and fall back down. And in the end, if we would be hitting perfect, who knows if this one would be going in the hole. For the second version here, we're going to play with a sniper, and that we do when we do have a tailwind in any form. And once again, that's the same in tour play as it is here in tournament, and the sniper is going to be the club. And here as well, you would need to play with a side spin 3 ball, but in tailwind it's a little bit easier than to play with a katana. And obviously now we don't really know what our opponent did there with that shot, but that is definitely not something you should replicate. So for us, we played simple. We go up to, we take a katana and we go up to max distance of our club. And that would be the same if you go with a kingmaker as well. You go up to max distance of your club to give yourself an easier time to find the position. So now first I do look for getting the quarterback as a club, but then change my mind and go back to the sniper, because it's always going to be easier to play with a sniper here or a wood club when it comes to playing in tailwind. Should have moved my target a little bit more to the right, as this wind is going to push us when hitting the ground, so we need to make sure to do so. And as I mentioned, 10% over adjustment. If you struggle adjusting for elevation, make sure you check out the guide. Same type of thing here. We get up, we're gonna fall down. We go a bit short, but that's why we're aiming too much to the left. So let's go to hole number 2. First, we're going to start by playing the right side if we can. And with that mean, if we do have the club that gives us at least half a ball of curl, or at least I would say 3/4 of a ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the right, we can apply the right side. and especially when having left to right type of wind, it's definitely going to be a possibility. Maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, and then I'm applying as much curl as I possibly can here to the right. Have in mind that if you do have more curl than shown here on the video, take off and play it with one ball of curl, because you do not want to over curl it and curl it into the rough to the right. Side spin 3 ball is definitely preferred. A katana would be a possibility in crosswind and tailwind. If you do have a minor headwind, then I would consider to play with a kingmaker instead to get myself the distance and also reduce the wind. If we do have, let's say we do have a more towards headwind, then it would be crosswind and tailwind, then the left side, like our opponent is going to play here, is going to be the best possible way to play. Even though it in the end maybe requires a bit tougher shot for the green, it's still going to be the one and only way to play, because it's going to be extremely difficult to get the ball over the rough and the sand on the right hand side if we do have any form of a more straight headwind component. Second shot, I'm playing 10% extra as well, using the side spin here. Here also the side spin comes very, very handy. Max side spin to the left, and then I would like us to apply 2 to 3 bars of backspin, not just going with one that I'm doing here, because we're gonna come in hot and that's going to be difficult to get then the ball to stop and control. If you do lay up as our opponent did on the left hand side, then you're going to play with the Saturn, or you're going to play with the Thorn, so you do have backspin to attack the pin directly. And we got ourselves a nice little boom! Number 3. First, we are going to start here by playing with either the big topper, or with an extra mile level 9 or level 8, or with a Thor's hammer in a decent level, or with an Apocalypse. The reason I say all those type of different choices, it's due to the fact that we do need to gain as much distance as possible, and that we do with topspin. So in a straight tailwind like this, a club with a lot of topspin is very, very good to have. And therefore I'm going to play with the big topper in this scenario. And I'm using the big topper together with a berserker ball, this to not have to go with overpower that much while playing with the big topper. So in the end here, we are going to see a lot more distance now with the big topper due to the berserker ball, but especially we do not have to overpower anything with a straight tailwind. If we would be having like a crosswind tailwind, we can make a decision here. Either we go with overpower with the big topper, or we choose a different club. If we do have a headwind, we need to lay up on the left hand side. Otherwise, or like we go right hand side, we need to lay up at least, because we will not be able to clear the rough and the sand, and that's going to be a lot very, very difficult when it comes to going with the drive. So 10% over adjustment, and then we're going to get ourselves over there, and then we're going to find ourselves still with a very tough shot now towards the green, but it should be manageable to get that eagle that we're looking for. As I said, if we lay up, we're gonna lay up, or at least I personally lay up on the left hand side to just go with the second shot as a transportation shot in between the rough and the sand there, as you can see on the top of the game screen, and then the third shot I go for a rough bump from distance. But that is what I do if I lay up. If we do have any tailwind from the second tee, we are going to go full blast and then take it for what it is. Sometimes when you go over like me and my opponent did, you're not gonna get that roll that I got there on the fairway, and you're gonna get like, so you just firm bounces, and then you're gonna see yourself having the trees in your face. And then you need to be a bit innovative there, as you do only need to focus on getting the ball to green. Sure, the second shot here now, we do not have that much distance, but I'm still going to plan or try to get this ball to bounce on the fairway into the rough and then to roll out. And obviously it's up to you if you just want to play it on the right side of the rough and just have a long putt, or you have a decent long wedge towards the pin. But nonetheless, you need to play with a wood club that gives you distance. So, and therefore as well, the Berserker Ball is super valuable, especially for the second shot here that we're gonna take. 10% over adjustment is what I'm doing for the second shot, and we bounce, and we clip the rough and roll out. So, let's go to hole number 4. Here, I'm actually going to show you a rough bump. And the reason I'm going to show you a rough bump, it's because the other ways of playing this hole kind of reduces the possibility of them making a hole in one big time. So we're going to use a sniper level 8 plus if we do have a tailwind. This to be able to get the topspin enough to get towards the pin. Those of you playing with a lower level club than sniper level 8, then you will have to either bounce on the fairway just besides the rough that we're aiming for and just get that ball towards the green and hope that you're gonna take an hole in one, because the fairways here on this course is extremely inconsistent, and the only way that we can find a good place to play is going to be the rough bump. And now we're going to play this one maximum distance with a 15% over adjustment. We use a little bit too much topspin, but in the end, this is the absolute best way trying to claim a hole in one or get generally close on this very tough par 3 of the Portela Cove. Low. So, let's go to hole number 5. First, we're going to start with the drive. If we do have a tailwind in any form, then we're going to do our best by trying to get up to the top right fairway without before the water. The reason we want to try to do that is because that's, in my opinion, the only way where we're going to consistently get a good chance for an eagle on this tough par 4. I'm using Kingmaker here to reduce the wind, especially for the second shot. You can play with a different ball if you want to, but the power 3 ball, if you're gonna do this shot, is going to be highly recommended due to not having to go with that much overpower. Half a ball of curl to 1 ball of curl outside the adjustment range to the right, and we're using as much topspin as possible. And then one of two things will happen. One is gonna die short like that, and if it dies short, 386 yards, just to be clear as well, then we're going to have to pack the machete or the Amazon. This because the green is very thin and you don't have much to bounce on. So to take away the need of having to bounce in the uphill slope that we do have just before the green starts, then we use the machete or the Amazon to give us the possibility to go with a backspin shot while approaching the pin. And as you can see here, the ball comes back and we are very close getting it in with the machete. If everything goes as we wanted to though, then we're going to play with the thorn. And if we then use the thorn, we're going to use max backspin here to be able to just aim on the green all the time, to prevent us from having to once again adjust in the uphill slope there that we do have before the green. We're not playing the second shot with any elevation whatsoever. We just play it as it is, and the drive is played 10%. This is, with a short iron at least, a decent opportunity. Just to mention as well, if you have a headwind for your drive, you cannot clear the water in whatever way you're trying to do it. So then you're going to have to lay up close to the water and get yourself a rough bump from distance. With hole number 9. And here we're going to first see our opponent's shot, because I think we can learn a lot from our opponent's shots and also from our own. And first, our opponent goes on the right hand side, which is, in my opinion, the way that I think you should be playing this course. And it's very rarely that I give you your opponent's route as the main route. When you do play with your driver here, I would suggest in a tournament situation to play with the quarterback. Otherwise, you play with the driver that you feel the most comfortable with going. And the plan here is to get this ball to be as close to the top as possible. I mean the rough. And with that, getting this ball as close to the top. And this is obviously absolutely brilliant. Like to get it that close, even though it was a little bit weird with the adjustment. But he got there, and that in the end is what we're looking for. For myself, I'm playing left-hand side here in this guide, which was the way that I started playing this hole. But notice that playing straightforward as our opponent did is going to be much more easier. And you're gonna see that especially for the second shot. The thing that I'm planning on doing here is to get this ball to bounce over the rough and get as much distance possible now to then have an easy wood club towards the pin. 10% over adjustment for this shot as well. And I'm playing with a power 3 ball here. I could see a benefit or like an advantage in playing with a power 4 or power 5 ball. That's why I've added the Berserker in the info box as well, that you can give yourself more distance, giving you an easier time, especially for the second shot. Because now the second shot is going to be played from our opponent with a sniper, and now he has two decisions, or like one decision to make and two options. One, he can go for the rough bump and trying to use the rough bump and bounce and roll towards the pin for a teeny tiny opportunity for the albatross, or that he's trying to get the ball to bounce directly on the fairway using as much backspin as possible and then curl it towards the pin. And in the end, now he gets into the rough, but that's because sniper, if you're gonna play with a backspin shot, don't play with the sniper. Then you play with the guardian, or you play with an upgraded cataclysm or something like that. If you're going to play for the rough bump, you play with the sniper. But then once again, I would consider playing with a power 4 ball being better. So in the end, you have a decision there to make, but I do believe strongly that that's going to be the better way of playing this hole. For ourselves there, picking the wrong club for the second shot, here we absolutely need a cataclysm or a big dog. Lucky enough, I hit good right on this shot and get myself around green area. In the end, the thing that we can be most focused on is that we're going to get the eagle. Doesn't really matter how, but I do believe that the way that our opponent took that route, with obviously some tweaks with the way he took the shots, is going to be the much better way to play hole number 6. So let's go with hole number 7, and here we're going to start to see what we're gonna do if we do have tailwind. Then it is very important to play with the Goliath, because with a Saturn backbone and then you're going to go in between clubs. Sure, those of you playing with the B52 won't have that problem either, because you do have the distance. Now going to play with 1, 2, 3 bars of backspin with 3 to 4 bars side spin to the right, and we're going to play it with a maximum distance plus 20%. So we need to over adjust 20%. And I'm also using a Kingmaker here to reduce the wind first and foremost, and also to be able to use the club's distance, so we're not going to go in between clubs once again. And the ball is going to bounce nicely on the fairway, comes in here nicely towards the pin, and we are just so close getting this one in the hole for an hole-in-one. If you do have a headwind, or you might play with a ball that is just a power 1 or something like that, then I would say the sniper is going to be the club. And now we're going to go with max side spin to the right, which is 2.3 side spin right, combined with around 1.5 to 2 bars of backspin here with the sniper, aiming for the hole and adjusting for a minimum distance with a 20% over adjustment. And this ball is going to take itself very close to the pin as well. Well, not maybe very close, but it's going to take itself close, and we need to compensate for the bounce a little bit more the next time. Good chance here, I would say, on hole number 7. So, in the end, now let's go with hole number 8. So the drive here to start, and we're going to play with a ball that has side spin 3. And in this case, it's going to be a katana. I would say a side spin 3 together with at least power 2 is going to be the trick here, because we do not want to find ourselves either in between clubs for the second shot, or not having distance enough going for the rough bump with our short iron. Now playing with extra mile, in my opinion, is not the best choice here. Play with a quarterback or with a rock, which will give you still the distance to get to the aiming spot that we're going for here now, but it also gives us accuracy, gives us ball guideline, therefore more control. It also gives us a possibility to go with curl, 305 yards. 10% over adjustment for the drive. Second shot, we're gonna go for a rough bump, and here I would suggest you to play with the Hornet. You know me, I like the Thorn, but sometimes with the Thorn, especially if we go into medium distance or minimum distance, the Thorn will just be on the edge of having enough topspin, especially for those of you not having a Thorn that has maxed out topspin, or at least having it in at level 7+, is going to have a difficult time getting enough topspin bars. So therefore the Hornet is going to be the one that I suggest, and it's definitely going to be a possibility to get it to drop from distance. No elevation for the second shot here, and we just get this ball to just fall down into the hole. Very good chance though, and I do believe this is going to be close to a must if you're going to have something to do with winning in this upcoming tournament. So let's go with hole number 9, and here we are going to actually go and try to clear the water. And I wanted to take this time in this whole guide to actually show you how difficult this is going to be, especially with clubs that is lower levels. And in the end, an extra level 7 is not a lower level club. The topspin is what is the problem. I would like us to have a minimum 6 bars of topspin to feel okay with saying to you that you should take this risk if you want to go over the water. We're going to adjust this one maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, and I'm using 4.5 bar topspin, 4.5 bar side spin, and my plan is to just bounce on the fairway into the rocks here and then be lucky to roll out like we're doing there. And the thing is though, if you do have more topspin, then you might need to go with a little bit of curl to the right, but it's going to be a difficult shot to do so, and therefore you always have the possibility of just lay up. Even in a tailwind, you can lay up there where we had our first bounce. You lay up there and then shoot your second shot from distance, trying to clear everything and get the ball to green. That shot is also going to be difficult, but I do believe in tailwind that's going to be almost easier to play it that way. So here you can see how risky that shot is, but if you take that risk and get over, you do have a wood club towards the pin, which is going to give you an okay opportunity. I would call it okay. It's not going to be a good one, because I do feel that albatrosses here is going to be very rare. No matter what for the second shot, if you lay up or with your drive, or if you go aggressive with your drive, you are going to play with the cataclysm or with the big dog for the second shot, and then going to reach to where you want to go. 10% over adjustment for the drive, nothing for the second shot. In the end, everyone, thank you. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division for the 3rd anniversary tournament. Have in mind that this wind here is not going to be the one that we get in the tournament, and there will therefore, as always, be a playthrough for Pro and also for Expert Division separate when we come to the tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and if you do want to get the notes that I'm playing with, you subscribe to Patreon, and you do that today. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck in your Golf Clash game.